Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. Priscilla here for another tarot tidbit. Today we're doing Indigo for intuition. If you guys haven't been following already, there's like 5 more videos, so go back, check those out, come back here. Or don't. You can watch them in any order you want to. It's not like a necessity to watch them in the order they came out. What I'm doing is a collaboration with Joy at Witch Mooncraft over on Instagram, so check that out. I will link the information down below, where we're doing some color magic and we're also doing some tarot, because that's what Joy and I do when we get together. We do magic, we do tarot, we do friend stuff. But I asked her to join me on this color magic exploration that I have been doing this month, and she said yes, so here we are. And the prompt for today, or the idea for today, was intuition and how that relates to tarot. And I thought that I would go through my deck, pick out some cards that represent intuition to help you guys see where you can find intuition in your tarot deck if you want to work with the energy of a certain card, or pull a card to sort of achieve something or manifest something. These are some cards that you can do that. I would definitely tell you guys to go back through, check your own deck, find what resonates for you, but you can totally use the cards that I share here today, because that's why I'm sharing them with you, so that you can have some inspiration and some ideas. And so we're going to jump into it. It's also important to note that I am filling all of these back to back so that I don't lose my train of thought or forget to film the rest of the series. But in the course of doing so, I have finished a bottle of wine, so they're progressively more unhinged as time goes on. And I apologize, but sorry, not sorry. That it's just the choices I made, so here we are. So we're going to start out with the High Priestess, which I think is the pinnacle of intuitive cards in the deck. And this is our connection to the divine, our connection to deep knowing, like having that already built-in awareness of things, that clairvoyant sort of nature, the intuition we're looking for. It's also our connection to our higher self. So I would work with this card if I was trying to do like any astral projection work, dream work, those sort of things, because I'm trying to communicate with like not just the universe, but like my higher self, my subconscious knowing mind. The High Priestess card is the perfect card for that. She has this mirror, so you can see there's a bit of like self-reflection here, because you have to look inward in order to sort of get that perception, that intuition like build up. You have to be able to look inside, so it's easier for you to understand things as the information is presented to you, so that you can make that intuitive connection and those intuitive choices. You gotta look inside, maybe do some shadow work. I don't know what to tell you. This is the card for that. And then we have the Moon, and the Moon is also a very like introspective, intuition like driven card. It reveals what's hidden and sort of connects us to deeper truths, like things that maybe you're not telling yourself or you're afraid to tell yourself. Those will come up if you work with the energy of the Moon. It's also like our connection to the unconscious mind, and god dang it. Sorry guys, apparently if I zoom in like this and then I put my fingers down, my camera doesn't know what to focus on, so it decides that nothing is the answer. Where was I? But the Moon like connects us to our subconscious nature, and it's how you get like messages from your unconscious mind. So if you're trying to like maybe connect with your subconscious and figure out like, hey, why am I getting all these weird dreams, the Moon card is a really great card to work with when you want to tap into that like deep self. So I think like in conjunction with the High Priestess, which would be like sort of the larger spiritual world, the universe kind of a little bit, the Moon would be more of like connecting with yourself and like diving deep into your own personal realm of intuition if you're trying to work with that sort of energy. And then we have the Queen of Cups, and you can see there's a theme here, a little bit of a mirror, a reflecting what's out in. And so as opposed to just looking within, this card is sort of telling you to like take the things that are around you and turn them inward and work through that, like figure that out, see if you can put those things together in a way that works for you. Also, the Queen of Cups is a very comforting card, and sort of like a guiding card, so there's a little bit of a help, like a little of assistance. It's a really great card if you're trying to do like ancestor work. the Queen of Card would be really perfect for that, especially if you're trying to like get your ancestors to sort of establish a connection with you so that you can like use your intuition in order to communicate with them. This would be the card for that, because that's like bringing the outside inside so that you can trust yourself and sort of reflect what you're getting from them back out into the world in a way that's useful to you, right? So then we have the Four of Cups. And this card is unfocusable. There we go. Maybe it's just the cards that like my camera doesn't like. And it's not my fingers. It's just the cards. I don't know why. They're very vivid cards. But the Four of Cups represents deep thought and sort of thinking through the things that don't work. And when we're talking about like becoming intuitive or trying to build on our intuition, you have to be able to see the things that aren't serving you, right? And when you're looking inward, you might be like, sort of like, there's so much going on, there's so many thoughts, there's so many things, and you have to let them go so that you can focus on the things that matter, so that when you're trying to receive these intuitive messages or make those connections, the way forward is very clear. And this card tells you like, hey, think about it, really spend some time like reflecting on all the things that are running through your mind. Like maybe you're one of those people who has a really hard time quieting their minds when they're meditating, and this card is telling you like, hey, maybe pay attention to the stuff that comes up so that you can sort out what doesn't work, so that when you try to meditate again the next time, it's easier to filter through those like random thoughts that pop up. And if you do that enough times, eventually you're gonna be able to clear your mind and like meditate in the way that you want to, that's effective. So this is a really great card to work with for that particular type of intuitive work. And then we have the Ace of Swords, and this one tells you that there is a new approach to a problem that you're having. So you might feel like a blockage in your intuition, and this card is basically telling you, try something different. See new ways so that you can see the clearer path, so that, you know, the way is unblocked for you. And because swords are sort of the mind type of card, they're of the intellect, being of the air element, it's telling you to like, hey, use your brain. Like, use your brain more than you're using it already, because you're clearly using it a lot, but you could do a little bit more. But use your brain to really like try to think of different ways to approach this problem so that you can get unstuck, so that you can make those connections, so that you can get back in touch with your intuition. Use your brain. And then we have the Knight of Cups, and this one is more like using your imagination to connect with your intuitive self. So you might do this by doing like guided meditations where you have to imagine the thing to meditate, especially if you're like a kind of person who has a hard time meditating, and maybe you've tried to weed out all the stuff and it's still not working for you, you just can't focus on it. Try a guided meditation, because this card is telling you to use your mind to sort of envision the things that are coming up, because it'll help clear out all the other stuff that doesn't serve and help you focus on what you desire. And especially when we're talking about working on pursuing intuition and becoming more intuitive, being able to visualize those things is going to help you become more intuitive, because it comes to your mind easier. You're going to be able to manifest that easier, and you're going to see the signs and stuff when they pop up, because you're already using those muscles in your brain, your muscle brain, your brain muscles. Whew, words are hard. You're already using your hypothetical brain muscles to visualize so much stuff that when things come your way, your intuitive self is already going to have the workout. It's already going to be able to connect those dots, because it's already seen the patterns and the things that should look for, because you've been working on that. You've been imagining it. And then we have Judgment. And Judgment is literally the card of receiving spiritual messages and signs and like portents of the divine, right? So like Judgment is telling you like, hey, this is what the universe wants to tell you. And if you're trying to like unlock your third eye so that you can be intuitive, if you're trying to like sort of connect with your deeper, witchier self, this would be the card to pull for that. Because it's literally like a direct line to the messages that you're trying to receive. It's saying like, hey, open up this part of your brain look at this because we're going to send all these messages through, and this would be the card for that. And now we're going to move into the reverse side of this. When you are too up in your intuitive self, you become like airheaded, you feel unbalanced, you sort of become forgetful, you start daydreaming too much intuition, not a good thing. So we have the Emperor. Literally the roots in the ground. Everyone who is witchy has done this grounding meditation where you envision yourself as a tree and you drive your roots into the ground so that you can pull up energy from the earth and become more grounded. That's what this card is telling you. It's telling you to take some time, maybe ground a little bit, look for stability, regain some control, because when you get too intuitive, you get a little bit lost in the sauce, right? You need to regain your control so that you can go back to being like your badass witchy self. And then last but not least, on the opposite side, when we have too much intuition, when we're caught up way too much in our intuition, we have the Four of Wands. And this card is essentially saying like, hey, like, you can ground and that's good and you should, but also like you can ground by just appreciating the things that are around you. Like celebrating those things around you will bring you back down to earth because you're now becoming observant of like the physical world. It's also the card for harmony and support. So maybe like if you're feeling a little bit disconnected, go out with your friends and just have a good time, and that'll bring you back down to earth a little bit. It'll help you realign. It's basically like the card of safe haven. It's telling you like, hey, if you can reconnect with the things that make you feel happy and safe, you're going to be able to ground yourself easily. So maybe you don't want to go through the whole like meditative process. Talk to your friends and be like, hey, let's go out and let's just, have a good time, and let's go like fucking take a hike or some shit, or have a picnic in the park. You'll find yourself very grounded and removed from that sort of lost in the sauce intuitive self that maybe you got a little bit overwhelmed by. And that's going to be all my cards for today. We have one more day left. It is the Violet Day. So we're going to jump into that tomorrow. So join me back here for that. Don't forget to check out our post on Instagram so you can get some more wonderful, witchy, color, and magic-y fun. And I will catch you guys all in the next one. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate your faces. Make sure to let me know what cards you would choose for intuition in the comments down below. Or just what you thought on the video in general. And until next time, guys, I can't talk anymore. This was a poor idea. Happy crafting. Bye.